Let's give all praises to the Most High, whose true name in the ancient Hebrew is Yahweh, in the name of his only begotten Son, whose true name in the ancient Hebrew is Yahweh Shai, and the Holy Spirit, which in the ancient Hebrew is the Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elders of GMS, who taught us his truth by the Holy Spirit. Honors to the brothers risking their life and freedom to push the gospel. Peace and blessings to the elect, who consist of the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, who make up the lost 12 tribes of Israel, according to scripture and prophecy. The elect would be 1/3 of the Israelites, who in these last days are returning back to Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai for salvation, while the 2/3 of Israel who don't seek the Lord in time be destroyed with America. And that's according to prophecy. We back with another lesson through the mercy and spirit of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. And this lesson is going to be titled, The Spiritual Reason Why White Women Now Love So-Called Black Men So Much. The spiritual reason why white women love black men so much. And we speaking about now, because now so-called white women love so-called black men, the Israelite man, more than ever. You know, there's always been a stigma between the black man and the white woman, but we see white women love black men now more than ever. So much that they speaking out against the white man. They speaking out against they husbands, they white fathers, they white families, the white men they grew up with. And then at the surface, people will say white women are fetishizing black men. They're obsessed with black men for physical reasons, that they objectifying black men. But when you listen to these so-called white women speak, it's really deeper than that. And now that's a part of it, you know, the physical attraction, but it's really deeper than that. And then, you know, through the spirit, we gonna explain it away with the scriptures. Now, some of it's funny. I got a handful of clips. Some of it is funny and entertaining to see. But in the spirit, it should really be informative. Because the so-called white woman, you know, Miss America, if she now got eyes for the so-called Negro man, that represents a shift taking place in the world. Because women are attracted to power. And for the longest, the white man had it. He had the position, being a CEO, the president, being at the top of the corporate ladder. You know, a man of power, the dominant race and status and influence and wealth. But they own women now want to come and side with the lowest man in the earth, being an Israelite man. And, you know, the so-called Israelite black man, that represents a shift in the earth. So why are white, so-called white women willing to leave their own white man to be with a man who the world perceives to be below everybody else? What does the so-called white woman see in the Israelite man? Now, we mainly talking about the black Israelite man, so-called Negroes, but the same applies to so-called Latin American and Native American people who are also of the 12 tribes. But what do the so-called white women see in us? So we gonna get into that with this lesson. And some of these clips, like the first clip is about 2.5 minutes. It's more so for entertainment, but as we continue through these clips, it gets deeper and deeper, and we really get to the bottom of it. But let's start with these clips.
I love a bad boy.
Have you always liked black guys?
I love black guys. You can tell.
The way that I have changed since this man has entered my life.
Well, I guess there's only one way to find out. How do you feel about me being married to Bedford?
I love it.
My husband's black. Of course, he's an active and present father.
Is the white race going extinct?
And bigger picture, that's what's really taking place. The white race is going extinct. And the Lord put that in motion by making the white man lose his power. For a race to go extinct, you got to do away with the male, who is the seed of that race or nation. But her clip is going to come back later on.
I want to talk about a reason why most women prefer to have children with black guys.
There's endless reasons why I have been exclusively dating black men.
Another thing, while we're on the topic of interracial marriage or relationships, I love the fact that my husband is black. And
Retwist, my fiance's lax with me at 38 weeks pregnant. This man is so lucky that I love him because my back was on fire the whole time.
What's your favorite color? Black.
Bitch with the word in the
I know this is going to be controversial. Why are all black men so fucking charming? Just any small polite interaction in public, smile at you and they look directly in your eye, like they know your soul, and you're like, wow.
We have got to the point where this is base 44.
Guys, we got 2 matching tattoos, and he has my name tatted, and he's gonna get my eye tatted.
Hey guys, today I'm here with Riley and Talia. Okay guys, the question today is, why do you guys love black guys?
Oh, BBC. Once you go black, you never go back.
White girls will defend their boyfriend. Shit, you ever seen a white girl and a boyfriend trying to get in a fight? She'll stop it. No, look at me, no. Brandon, look at me. This guy's an asshole. Get out of here, man. You're a fucking buster. Get out of here. Fuck him. Let's go. My hand. My hand, Brandon.
You are so funny. I'm sorry. Thank you, but you're so freaking Thank you.
All right, so you see a lot of that, for entertainment, kind of funny. But now, we're going to get deeper into it.
A PSA to any black American men who live in Queensland. Do you live here in Queensland? Well, fuck, I gotta catch their attention. You see, because we're going out tonight and we're just wondering, anybody want to come party? Anybody want to come just, Oh, yeah. Oh, shit, there you go. Do that one. Do them ones.
When's the last time you had sex?
Way too long ago!
Way too long ago.
Need to come out of retirement!
What's your type?
Tall, dark, and handsome, a little bit of chocolate.
I beg your pardon.
Is my cameraman good enough looking to help
He's
you?
hot! He's married. Why does she want the BBC?
I know.
All right, so now it's going to get a little deeper. I think we're there now.
Is the white race going extinct? I want to talk about a reason why most women prefer to have children. I want to talk about a reason.
Is the white race going extinct?
Is the white race going extinct? I want to talk about a reason why most women prefer to have children with black guys or Arabic guys, and why it's pretty much likely that Europe and the West countries, like white countries, are going to become mixed and eventually, brown or black over the time. It is simply because women are wired to go for the man that's strongest, okay? Go for the man that's most masculine. Why? Because first, she wants a protector. She wants someone who's going to protect her and her children. And can a white, feminine-looking sissy do that?
She said, can a white, feminine-looking sissy protect his woman? So this is the shift that's taking place within the white race, within a white household. And it ain't just so-called black Israelite men that white women are going after. They just leaving the white man altogether, going after anybody else that's not a white Edomite male.
Going to protect her and her children. And can a white, feminine-looking sissy do that? Probably not. Number two, it signals good genes. Obviously, all women, it's like by nature, women want to have children that are strong, okay, that are going to have a strong genetic makeup. And most of the times when you see this like very muscular black man, and then you see like not that muscular white man, it's, you know, it's obvious which one she's gonna go for. Now, because so many immigrants, we have the choice. Okay, we can pick. Do we want a weak white guy or do we want a strong man of color? And
so color is synonymous with power and strength. And white is synonymous with weak. She said, do we want a weak white man or a strong man of color? That don't just mean a so-called black Israelite man. But color and strength go hand in hand the way that they see it. And it's right.
it's just by nature that we need to pick the one that's stronger.
The way that I have changed since this man has...
Let me see where we at. So we're going to jump forward a little more. Now listen closely to this one.
Logical phenomenon. And what is it about black men that is just different? And I'm not just saying this because I'm with a black guy, but since I have been exposed to black culture more and more, I just genuinely believe that they actually like women.
You hear that? She said she's been around black culture. She's convinced that the so-called black man actually likes black women. And I've heard this elsewhere as well, and it's true. Because when we found out about the so-called white man, he don't really like women. He like little girls. He likes little boys. That's why Epstein Island exists. The world's most powerful men, which all happen to be white, they got all the money, all the power, all the influence. They could go all over the world and get any woman or any women that they want. But what they choose to do, get together, have a secret island, and bring a bunch of little children there. Not women, but children. Put the so-called black man in the white man's position. When it comes to position, status, wealth, the black Israelite man gonna have a bunch of women, not a bunch of children. And then we know that gay app, Grindr. They say when there's a Republican, and we know mainly white males are Republican, but when there's a political Republican event in the city, they say the Grindr app crashes. Because you got all these white men coming to a city in the same location, and they all happen to be on the Grindr app. And the so-called white man is a natural-born homo anyway. He obsessed with the black man's rod. And it's just, if you know, you know. And the so-called white man don't really like women for the same reasons that we like women. When we like women, we like them for the reasons we supposed to like them. We like them, you know, it's real attraction. So-called white man only likes women if he can project power and dominance and control over the woman. If he can't control his woman and project dominance over her, the white man no longer wants her. Look up this. Look up family annihilators. It's a term that describes men who kills their entire family. And one of the reasons it says that the perpetrators usually feel a loss of control within a relationship or a financial situation. And they say the perpetrators, most of the time, are white males. And then so-called white man just likes to have a woman by his side to feed his ego, to give him a good self-image. It's all for show. Because again, these so-called white men, you got wives at home. You got the power and status to go get any other kind of woman you could want. But you got an Epstein Island, which is really a global pedophile ring. But again, the so-called white man is a natural born homo. And then we really love women. But let's continue.
Like they have a different appreciation for femininity.
Like she say, a different appreciation for femininity. That's why the scriptures say, deal with her with wisdom as according to the weaker vessel. Roughly paraphrasing. But that's not the case with the so-called white man. He don't like women.
Just thoughts, but what about this black boyfriend effect?
Hey, black. Y'all are completely out of line. Like, walking around with the confidence you do, like your last name is Charisma. All of us are out here just trying to make small talk, and you guys are just walking around existing. As if you just jumped on stage and gave a TED Talk on fine. It is...
Hungry root makes sticking to my anti-inflammatory...
absolutely disrespectful. And don't even get me started on the swagger. I mean, you guys are out here like, I know I look good, and I'm just gonna let you sweat through it energy. Sir, please.
All right, so this is the last one. It goes, I guess, the deepest into the topic.
There's endless reasons why I have been exclusively dating black men for well over a decade at this point, and why I am married to a black king now, because the energy that black men give is just pure confidence, pure like love and sense of self. Like the black men that I've been so privileged to be around, like learn from, to serve, they know their power, they know their talent, they know that nobody else could be them. They know that everybody like that there's just this reverence for them, and that stale pale males have certain...
you heard that? She called him the stale pale male. Esau the white man is a stale cracker at this point. A stale cracker with no salt. But again, the pale, stale male. The lady earlier, she said a white, weak, non-muscular male.
This reverence for them, and that stale pale males have certainly an inferiority complex about it, but that women just naturally gravitate to it. It's a natural dominance, a natural like powerful masculinity. They never have to overcompensate. And I feel like I knew in my soul that I loved black men before I could even articulate why, or like what the reason was, what the pull was. Like black men just, they deserve everything. They deserve everything they could ever want. They deserve love and loyalty and respect. And I just feel so at home in myself being honest about how much I love black men, how much I think about black men all the time, and just want them to be just like literally fucking worshipped for existing. The talent, the creativity, the sensual like intensity that what they exude naturally, beyond compare. That's it. That's the truth. And this is why the movement will forever keep growing.
And she said the movement is going to keep growing. And what's the movement? The shift from the male standard being the so-called white male to the so-called black male, a so-called Israelite man. And then again, what we say is true for the so-called Native American, so-called Mexican, Latin American men as well, because they snatching up all these women too. But we're gonna go back to this first video.
I know this is going to be controversial. Why are all black men so fucking charming? Just any small polite interaction in public, smile at you and they look directly in your eye, like they know your soul, and you're like, wow.
Guys.
So it ain't just because of the BBC or physical attraction or muscles. You know, that's the beginning of it. It's a plus. But when you go deeper, they talked about the charisma, the confidence, the awareness of who he is, who his woman is, that she is a woman, that he appreciates a woman, what she is and what she brings. They say the so-called black man, the Israelite man, is more sensual. And I heard a white woman say this too, that hugging a white male and hugging a black male is completely different. Like she say, when you hugging a white male, it's just the act of it. But hugging a so-called black man, there's a transfer of energy that she can feel him and feel his soul when he hugs her. And what we got with the white woman, the same as when they have an interaction, rather a small talk or just any kind of interaction. You know, so-called black men is charming. But again, what the one woman said a little bit ago, she said, is the white race going extinct? Now, let me go back to that.
Is the white race going extinct?
And we're going to leave it on here, and that's what it is. The white race is going extinct. That's the bigger picture of why so-called white women are now more than ever in love with the so-called black man. And we mean the Israelite man here in the Americas and in the Caribbeans. Now, I left a comment on this video. I'm going to read it from my phone real quick. And sometimes the spirit moves us to leave comments, but I'm going to grab it real quick. I said the spiritual reason why women are more... I said the spiritual reason why is women are attracted to power. The white man is losing his power because we at the end of his empire. We at the end of his rulership. And we, so-called black men, the Israelite men, we on the come up. And the entire global empire could not defeat us. Now they see who really has the power. And that's the case. The so-called white man has done everything to demonize us, make us public enemy, try to exterminate us, kill us off, try to beat us down, humiliate us, and all we did was rise. And it's not something that we did on our own. It's the mercy and spirit of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shah on his people. The shift has always been happening, but now it's more noticeable. And women see that. So we're going to start here, the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 54. And this goes into the curses that will be put on the Israelites for their disobedience. And it says, so that the man, so that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil toward his brother. What's a black man having an evil eye towards another black man? Black on black crime. Mexican on Mexican crime. However you want to word it. So an evil eye toward his brother and the evil eye toward the wife of his bosom. Now, this still exists in the earth, the so-called black man and black woman, the Israelite man and the Israelite woman having an evil eye toward one another. Goddamn buses. But that evil eye towards between the black man and the white woman is starting to the curses are being reversed, and it says an evil eye toward the women, it's toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave, because the saying is, so-called black men always leave their children behind. It's the curses. Verse 56, and the tender and delicate woman among you, which will not venture to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, her eye shall be evil toward her husband. And that's why, domestic violence, so-called black community, Israelite community, but again, that there will be beef between a man and a woman. These are the curses that will be put on us as a people. Her eye shall be evil toward her husband of her bosom, and toward her son, and toward her daughter. But look what the Lord said about the curses in Deuteronomy 30:7. And Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua thy God will put all these curses upon thy enemies, and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. Who oppressed our people? Who hates us more than the so-called white man? Well, the Lord said, those who persecute us, those who hate us, those who oppress us, the Lord will put the same curses on our enemies. So now you see that the white man has an evil eye towards the white woman. That's why you got family annihilators. The domestic abuse, verbal abuse is really the highest in white households. And then the so-called white woman having an evil eye toward her husband, evil eye toward the white man. That's all this video was about. They called him the pale, stale male, a white, feminine looking sissy, the white, weak looking man. But you see that the curses is now being put on Esau. And that white women don't want nothing to do with the white man no more. But why the Israelite man know? A man that's supposed to be at the bottom. We're going to get into that as well. But when we come here to the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 16, we're going to get it in the NLT. Now, this is dealing with the white man. I'm going to hit it in the KJV first. Thou art filled with shame for glory. So all of the glory that the white man once had is now being turned into shame. There's no glory in being identified as an American no more. Being an American, they now know you are a man of genocide, you're a school shooter, you're on the Epstein list. This is the home of LGBTQT. And that's a shame that comes with being identified as an American, that you're pretty much a degenerate. And being a white male, there's no there's now no more glory in being identified as a white male. Because again, as a white male, you a murderer, a school shooter, you're on the Epstein list, you're really a homo behind closed doors, you don't really like women, you rob, rape, and murder entire nations and steal resources. It says, drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. Meaning what? Exposed. The Lord's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be upon thy glory. So that's what we saw in this video. It was shameful spewing on the white man's glory. Now, let's get this in the NLT. It says, but soon it will be your turn to be disgraced. Because who was being disgraced up until now? The so-called black man, the Israelite man. But it says, but soon it will be your turn to be disgraced. Come and drink and be exposed. And the so-called white man is being exposed for having a micro penis, rape, robbing, and murdering entire nations of people, guilty of crimes against humanity, guilty of genocide, the destruction of the earth, and the source of all the wickedness and injustice that takes place in the earth. It says, drink from the cup of the Lord's judgment. So this is the white man's judgment, that they women don't want to be with him no more. The white man's judgment, now they're being disgraced. Shame upon their glory. And all your glory will be turned into shame. So on the white man's way out of falling out of power, he's going to fall from that glory as well. He's not going to go out in honor, but in dishonor. Now, when we continue, this is the book of Zephaniah, chapter 3, verse 19. Behold, at that time, I will undo all that afflict thee. And America, as a nation, is being undone. Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, as the dominant power, he's being undone. Nobody trusts him no more. Everybody know he's a murderer, a thief, and a liar. The system is a fraud. It's a scam. Esau the white man is a scam artist. He's a crook and a criminal. And a woman don't want him no more. It says, and I will save her that halteth, and gather her that was driven out. It says, look at this, concerning the Israelite man, the so-called black man. I will get them praise and fame in every land where they had been put to shame. So we've been put to shame already. We've been disgraced already. But now what? We coming into that praise and that fame. So-called white woman is now praising the so-called black man. So she's leaving the man of power, the so-called white man, and giving that praise to a man that's at the bottom, because that's where the power really is. So we coming into that praise and fame now. And we see it in its beginning stages amongst white women. Again, who's giving praise and fame to the so-called black man. Now, this is low level because ultimately the praise and fame is going to come from heaven. It's going to come from Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shah. Right here in America, we coming into that fame and that praise. This is the beginning of it. And like the one white woman said, she said this trend is only going to continue. That more and more white women want to be with a so-called black man. That trend is only going to continue. And then when we get this in the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 6, verse 9, it say this: for Esau, the white man, is the end of the world. And Jacob, the so-called black man, Latin American and Native American, the Israelite man, is the beginning of it that followeth. So we at the end of the white man's world, the white man's rulership. We at the end of his glory. Now the white man is falling out of power. They're shameful spewing upon his glory. He's going from a place of honor to the place of dishonor. But Jacob, this is the beginning of the so-called black man's rulership. Really, the Israelite man's rulership. The beginning of his glory. So that's really the shift. This is the end of the white man's world and the beginning of the world of the Israelite man. And that's why when we get this in the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 10, verse 10, the physician cutteth off a long disease. He that is today a king, tomorrow shall die. He that is a king today, tomorrow shall die. And that's Esau, the so-called white man. Bigger picture, this really represents a kingdom, meaning the kingdom of today. The people in power today, tomorrow shall die. So when she said, is the white man going extinct? Yeah. The white man's kingdom is coming down, and he's going to be extinct. And this don't mean the white man going to be out of power literally tomorrow, but it represents a new day. The sun is setting on the white man's kingdom. This is the end of it. The sun is setting on it. And tomorrow is the new day. Tomorrow is the beginning of a new kingdom. The kingdom of Jacob, the Israelite man. So the sun is setting on the white man's kingdom, but the sun is about to rise on the so-called black man's kingdom. And that's why Yahweh Shai is known as the bright and morning star. That represents a new day, a new kingdom in the earth. And then when we hit the book of Isaiah, chapter 24, it says, the earth mourneth and fadeth away. The world languisheth and fadeth away. The haughty people of the earth do languish. And we know, second Ezra say, the earth will grow weaker in age. So the earth and everything therein is fading away. It's growing weak. And the haughty people, the people at the top, the people in power, the people above all other people, it says they do languish. Now, let's look at that word languish. So to languish, it says the haughty people do languish. It says to be weak. We know the white race is growing weaker. It says to droop. But we know their birth rates are declining. They dying off faster than they can reproduce. They're getting more and more skin cancer from the sun. They don't belong here. And they got all kind of health problems and deformities and mental problems that's taking them out. Not only that, even their own women view them as being weak. She said the pale, stale male. She said the white, weak male. She said the white, feminine looking sissy. But it says to droop. Now, let's look at that word droop. It says to bend or hang downward limply. Now, what is this going into? It's going into erectile dysfunction, low testosterone, male infertility. It says to sag down from his weariness, to cause to bend or hang downward. So even the white man thing hanging downward, that represents the decline of his kingdom and their population. So when it says the haughty people do languish, and that goes into erectile dysfunction and male infertility as well, which predominantly affects the white male race. Now, when we get this in the book of Ecclesiasticus 10:30, it says the poor man is honored for his skill. Who's the poor man? The so-called black man, the so-called Latin American, Native American man. What's our skill? Being charming, having swag, being confident, being creative, not giving up, being charming, being sensual. It says, and the rich man is honored for his riches. Who's the rich man? The white man. So his riches represent his money, wealth, status, position, influence, him being at the top. But look at this. He that is honored in poverty. the so-called black man, we're honored in poverty. Because amongst the nations, the so-called black man, the Israelite man, we're still at the bottom. We still at the bottom in wealth, riches, position, status, influence. But in this low position, we're honored. And look by who? The so-called white woman. The woman at the top. The woman at the top is admiring the man at the bottom. She see this where true power really is. Because the man at the top, the white man, tried to do away with us. And he couldn't, he failed. It says, he that is honored in poverty, how much more in riches? So if we honor and admire, although we at the bottom of the ladder, how much more will we be in honored if we at the top? How much more will we be honored and admired and desired if we had Esau the white man's spot? If we had his rank, his position, his wealth, his authority in the earth? How much more will we be honored? And look at this. And he that is dishonorable in riches. Esau the white man is dishonored in his riches. Despite having rank, position, wealth, status, influence, control, authority, power here on the earth, he's dishonored. They call him the pale, stale male, the white, weak man, the feminine looking white sissy. So despite the millions and billions and trillions that Esau got, he's dishonored. First, by his own women. And despite having all that power, all that authority, all that wealth, all them riches, his own woman don't even want him. The so-called white woman rather have less privilege, less power, less wealth to come be with a charming, confident, sensual, creative Israelite man. But again, he that is dishonorable in riches, how much more in poverty? So if Esau the white man is dishonored now, imagine how rejected and dishonored and undesirable he's going to be in the kingdom of heaven, which is the world of Jacob under Yahweh. So this is the shift that's taking place. The man in poverty, he about to be in riches. And the man in riches, he's about to be in poverty. And that's why the scriptures say, the first shall be last and the last shall be first. But even though we last, we still honored and admired and desired. So the fame and glory that the Lord said he'd get us in every land where we were put to shame, the fame and glory and praise that we're going to get is going to far exceed what the white man has ever gotten while he was in power. But that's the spiritual reason why so-called white women now love the so-called black man more than ever. White women understand that the white man is losing power, and women are attracted to power. And our women don't see it yet. Most of our women don't see it yet, except the women who fully understand the truth and see white women ahead of the curve. That's why you see so-called white women trying to snatch them a black man up, and black women looking like, why y'all like the black man so much? The so-called white woman is ahead of the curve. The so-called white woman is used to having a man of power. Now she see the shifts in that power. She see the power is going elsewhere. And she's just following where the power is going. And she see the power is with the so-called black man. So that's why I said, if a white woman, the woman at the top, wants to be with the man at the bottom, there's something that could be learned from that. And what's to be learned from it is that the Israelite man, so-called black man, is on the come up. That we got next, and that's beginning with the 144,000 in the elect. So Lord willing, that was informative. Till next time, Shalom.